welcome everybody to this week's Market Share, the short weekly segment brought to you by MKR, where we bring you all the noteworthy news and updates surrounding digital media and the world today. I'm your host, Genevieve, and we've got some great stories for you today, so let's get started. First up, audio ads have been found to outperform video for attention and brand recall, which is really quite shocking given how much audiences have moved towards video on a lot of platforms. Amazon, Odyssey, Cumulus, iHeartMedia, Spotify, and SXM Media all participated in some agency-led research that found 41% of audio ads generated correct brand recall, compared to a 38% norm for other advertising, mostly consisting of video. Then the average impact on brand choice metrics was a positive 10% for audio versus a 6% norm for other ads. And audio advertising produced average attentive seconds of 10,126 per thousand impressions, which is more than 50% higher than the norm of 6,501 from prior studies. Obviously, video is still ruling budgets, as 90% of US measured media came largely from video, but CPM for radio is about half of CPM for linear TV, so maybe your marketing team should be rethinking your strategy. Audio attention is surprisingly proving to be really high, which is somewhat counterintuitive given that people often multitask when consuming audio. But then when you think about podcasts, which drove the highest attentive seconds per thousand impressions compared to other digital, social, and TV benchmarks in the study, the ads read by podcast hosts are performing better around brand preference. So no, this doesn't mean to get rid of all of your video ads, but it does mean that you should do your research about what type of ad resonates the best with your audience and produces the most brand recall. Next up, Meta has added new brand safety elements to reassure ad partners. Yes, they are finally giving us concrete steps on how to protect ads from being placed next to some unwanted messages. First of all, Meta has expanded its brand suitability verification for the Instagram feed after releasing this feature for the Facebook feed back in March. And they've explained that once Threads monetization happens, this will be applied there too. Meta is also adding 4 new languages to the inventory filters, which will allow brands to manage their ad placements more effectively. Additionally, Meta has started to test a new inventory filter option on Reels, which will hopefully expand ad partners' capacity to ensure brand safety in content placement. We talk often here on Market Share that you need to make sure that your ads are showing up near the right content, or at least not showing up next to the wrong content. And it seems as though Meta is making measurable strides toward making this easier for brands. But you still need to make sure to do your due diligence in terms of targeting, and using the right platforms too, of course. Third up today, Pepsi is aiming to dethrone Coca-Cola as the preferred cola pairing with rum, which, let's be honest, is never going to happen. But first, let's hear them out. Rum and Coke is, dare I say, a cultural pastime, but according to some Pepsi taste tests, people actually prefer its product as a mixer. The hashtag #BetterWithPepsi brand platform has released data that 56% of surveyed adult consumers prefer its product as a mixer with spiced rum compared with Coke. And to go even further, their ad campaign is pointing out the Pepsi logo hidden in rum packaging. Can you say subliminal advertising? This taste testing is not a new tactic for Pepsi, as even going back to the 70s, they've used taste tests and consumer research to try to beat out their largest competitor. Past iterations of Pepsi marketing have revolved around burgers, pizza, and hot dogs, but now they're really targeting the alcohol market, and this comes at a great time considering that August is National Rum Month. The main activation for this campaign, outside of strategic print and out-of-home placements, social media, and SEO buys, is with the alcohol delivery company Drizzly, where you can get special offers when you use the Better with Pepsi code at checkout. So do we think that people will start ordering rum and Pepsi? No. But it is entertaining and honestly inspiring to see their efforts. Fourth this week, KFC Canada is holding a funeral for its old fries as they begin to introduce the newest iteration. Most companies probably know when one of their products isn't the best, but it is an extremely bold move to admit it and even promote it to the public. KFC is really leaning into the hatred of its old French fries, as can be seen by the real KFC branded hearse that the company is parading around the streets of Toronto, and the live-streamed memorial service for the old product that probably no one wants to hear about anymore. This campaign is a great example of how to think outside of the box, or rather outside of the coffin, as KFC Canada referenced the old box as the fry coffin, and then they really just rolled with it. They thought, what could be bigger and gain more attention for a new product than a public funeral procession through the streets of Toronto? And maybe they're right. Many companies have been leaning into the hatred that some people have for their products, which 1, validates consumer opinions, and 2, gets people excited to try something new. Let's just hope that they've done some extensive taste testing so that they don't have to do this yet again. For our last story this week, and maybe the shortest story we've ever had here on Market Share, Twitter's leadership has inexplicably thrown away their brand equity and renamed the platform X, thus finally rendering it as a non-entity. That's all for this week's Market Share. My name's Genevieve, and we'll see you all next week. The ads read by podcast hosts. Podcast hosts.